Welcome everybody to another Teacher Tips course. I'm really excited today to have a buddy with me who I've known a very long time, Kathleen Geraghty. Kathleen, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us today.
Thank you, Brian, for having me here.
Awesome. Kathleen, we get questions all the time about gamifying and making things fun. And one particular question stood out to me. I'm going to go ahead and read it to you here. And it's this: I have to prepare my students for tests. How do I make that fun? And I couldn't think of anybody better to answer that question than you. So I'm going to shut up and let you take it away.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to go over some games that I do play with my students and how I use that in my classroom and add that gamification on there. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with the one that's actually called the lesson game. So I went ahead and opened up there. I teach U.S. history and I teach civics. So this particular one is the Matrix of Knowledge. With my students, I do it two different ways. I have them work on it alone, but to add a little bit more to it and still review with my students, I do go ahead and I have them have whiteboards, and we go through and I ask the question. I just click on one of them. I ask the question. They give them a little time to talk, and they write down A, B, C, or D. We reveal, they hold them up, reveal the correct answer, and then they go ahead and give themselves points. And it's just a great way to get that conversation going in your classroom.
I
So
love
that's
that.
one thing you can do with the lesson games, besides them working by themselves,
Right.
is also working in groups. And you're also getting that feedback too, because you can see
Yep.
what answers that they're giving.
That's perfect. Yeah, because you don't want to do the same thing necessarily every time. That adds a nice
That's
little
right.
spice to it. That's perfect. Great.
Okay, perfect. So another thing that you can do, another game that you can do is with the vocabulary cards. So how I did this, I just went to the lesson overview and I picked lesson 11, and I went ahead and I opened up and I had an edit on here. I opened up, I did edit a few things on here. Now, what you can do with these is you can just go through and just have the students individually go ahead, flip the cards, look at the definitions on there. You can also print them out. When you print them out, they're going to come out like this. And you could then go ahead and cut them up. And they print out, I'm sorry, they print out, here are the words and here are the definitions.
Mhm.
Now, one of the suggestions through TCI is to do them front to back. I don't do it that way with my students. I do it individually so I can do a matching game with them. And it's a great review. It's a great review before semester. It's a great review before a test, but I cut them up. I do them on two separate different colors of paper, and I keep them in baggies so that they go ahead, they take them and they play a matching game with them. And then I come around and check their work.
That's awesome. And what's really cool to me about that now is with the vocabulary cards, teachers can edit them. They can add their own cards. They can even add pictures to them. So if they
Mhm.
wanted to do pictures on one side, definition on the other, that's great for elementary students, but even
Perfect.
middle and high school students too. Great little matching
Yes.
game. Love that. That's cool.
Yes. And that, as I said, you are perfect. That is a K through 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another thing that I do, I teach civics, and in Florida, that is a state tested class, is there's something called hexagonal thinking. And I found this on the internet, but I created these myself. You can actually create these hexagons on PowerPoint, or you can also, I just bought a cutter and I created them myself. And what I did was I put terms on here, and you can also do pictures. And the idea is that students match up concepts that go together. So they can go out all over the place, or they can, be like a honeycomb, however you want to have it set up. But what it does is it has the students talking about the vocab words, talking about the concept, talking about the content. And it's just a fun way for them to try to figure out how all of them go together. And this is also something that you can do K through 12. In the elementary and lower EL, you can put pictures on here. They can be matching up. That's in both science and social studies too. And, you can do visuals all the way up to 12th grade too. But it also, as I said, it's a great way to get the students talking. As I said, I just went and I bought a cutter, and I write them on here myself. I keep them in a little baggie with the title. I give it to the kids, give to my students, and then they can go ahead and work on them and put them all together.
I love that. And it got me thinking as you were talking, I'm like, wow, we could put students in pairs or groups and they could compete against another group to see how many connections that they can make. But they
Mhm.
have to defend it. Like you said, they've got to
Yes,
be able to make those connections.
yes.
Wow, simple and easy. And who knew we would be talking about hexagons in a social studies and science setting like this right here. So that's awesome. Kathleen, thank you so much. Teachers, you can go inside your account right now and you can try out for yourself exactly what Kathleen shared. Play a lesson game with the students and then look at those vocabulary cards and then give hexagonal thinking a try. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, Kathleen.